The Innovators is brought to you by the Jamaica Yellow Pages, JN Small Business Loans, Future Services International, the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited, and Island Grill. Meet the Innovators, Yannick Page and Gary Matalin. Yannick Page launched her first business at age 17 and knows how to start a business on a shoestring budget. She's a certified trainer in entrepreneurship and workforce innovation and is also the founder of the award-winning company, Future Services International. Gary Matalin is the co-founder and director of New Stone Limited and the co-founder and CEO for Kingston Live Entertainment Group that is responsible for Fiction Lounge, Usain Bolt's Tracks and Records, and Famous Nightclub. This season, 10 new assignments will compete to completely transform their businesses. With the help of the Innovators, the business with the most positive changes will win $250,000. Yup, that's $250,000, courtesy of JN Small Business Loans. This week, they have a huge task of helping business owner Dion Chance to make more money. Let's meet Dion.
My name is Dion Chance, and I'm the owner of DNA Taxi Service. I became involved in the taxi business in 1996. After leaving the cruise ships and coming back home to Montego Bay, I started to operate a taxi from Mount Salem to the Montego Bay Transport Center. After a couple of years, I was elected the president of that route, and I moved on to become the president of the St. James Taxi Association. And being there and looking around and seeing what the service is, and what is offered and what is lacking, thus came the idea or the vision to form this taxi company. DNA Taxi has 8 drivers within its fleet. It is our intention to increase this as business comes, but for now we have 8 reliable persons.
I've been working for DNA Taxi Company for almost 2 years now, and I like my job because it's rewarding, because we work as a team, so we work together. We ensure that our customers are satisfied.
Now that I'm here, finally getting the chance to meet Yannick and Gary and to get the help that I really need in restructuring DNA Taxi Service. Words can't explain how good I'm feeling today, and I'm very confident that after this, that I'll be able to put things together and to get the thing organized in the way it should, rebrand, and just move forward from strength to strength.
Gary and I want to understand a bit more about how your business works. You know, what's the relationship between yourself and the other operators that you have under your umbrella, under the umbrella of DNA?
Okay, the way that it works is that we have 8 drivers that are contracted to us presently. And the relationship is that we dispatch the jobs to them, and then they pay us a percentage.
These are their vehicles?
These are their vehicles.
Okay.
And this is what we've been doing for the past 2 years.
Tell me how you plan to change your business model so that you aren't left with these huge operational expenses while your drivers make 80% of the revenue, and then you are the one who has built the brand and you're giving them the customers. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, we're not going to deviate much from the original concept that brought the company together. DNA was built on a family structure. One of our family members, so to speak, had an idea of bringing in more persons and saying that we wouldn't have to roll out. That model clearly didn't work. So what we're doing now is going back to the original concept, where we'll be owning the vehicles, branding, and when I say branding, I mean that the minute you see one of these cars going by, you should be able to recognize and link it to the DNA Taxi Service.
What is a typical fleet size of a taxi operator?
Montego Bay in itself is very unique, and you have to understand Montego Bay as a city And if you should compare to Kingston, Kingston has mostly buses operating, so the Hackney carriage really takes on a different dimension in Kingston. While in Montego Bay, it is mainly route taxis.
Dion is so impressive. I'm really impressed with his professionalism, and that's the way I like to see business people present themselves.
In 5 years' time, I see DNA taxi service as being the premier choice for average Jamaicans that want to move around in style and comfort. That's the vision, and that's where we would like to be.
Will Dion's business restructure plan work? Let us know what you think on Twitter at the Innovators JA and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/theinnovatorstv. This segment was brought to you by the Jamaica Yellow Pages. What will you discover today?
If you're just starting your small business, you need not be daunted or distracted. The first thing that you need to get down, secure, is to know who your customers are. You need to be clear who you want to serve and who you're able to serve. With limited resources, you cannot afford to be all things to all men. So you need to know exactly who and what you are about. The next thing that you need to focus on is that you need to focus on the results. Don't be concerned about the money. The money will come. You also need to be very professional. Professional in your physical department and also in the way that you do business. In terms of doing business, you need to do what you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. You need to return calls promptly, show up on time for your appointments. All of that count. Just follow those simple tips and you'll be amazed as to what you can accomplish. The sky's the limit, so just go for it.
This segment is brought to you by Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited.
I myself am employed to the Port Authority of Jamaica at the Montego Bay Freeport, right? So my stint with the business is whenever I'm not at work, I'm in the business overseeing and ensuring that everything goes according to plan.
So Dion, what I want to understand is how are you doing right now? How are you currently marketing your business and what kind of traffic are you generating? I shouldn't use the word traffic, but what kind of customer base do you have?
Well, our customer base right now is mainly with the students from UTEC that is based in Montego Bay, and mainly female customers, because you know that in the whole traveling around, especially late at night, females that are traveling by themselves want a certain level of assurance and security in terms of knowing that.
Why did they get that from you? How do they know to call DNA? Because that's the place you get.
Initially, we did a lot of advertising on the radio, television, and all of that. But I must confess that we haven't been doing that for about 6-7 months.
I'm concerned about Dion not having any marketing effort whatsoever in 6 months. Marketing, you have to market your business, especially he's in a competitive space.
If it is that Gary and I need to get a car, and we need to travel to somewhere, and we call you, what kind of response do we get? What kind of response time are we expecting?
We're looking at a maximum of a 10-minute response.
Okay, what if we told you that we wanted to test that?
You could.
And we would get 10 minutes response time?
I guarantee you would.
So we tested it.
I can get a taxi service. I'm going Bull Bay.
Alright, no problem.
Alright, cool. How soon?
Okay. I'm going to start him up.
So hold on, Phil?
Yes, man. Just hold on.
Alright, cool.
What's your name, please?
Michael.
Michael is the person picking up the office. Michael is a 10, so give him more 12.
Alright, no problem, no problem.
I'm pretty pleased that we proved that, we do have that networking, because I know that probably was one of the things that was one of the doubts, to say, does this network really exist?
You know what, Dion? I'm really impressed with the service. I think that you were very polite, very helpful to the customer. You were able to give them exactly what they wanted. And that, I think, is very good for the brand that you're trying to build. So now it's just to kind of move on to how do you expand that and what's the best way to grow. I think that was really good. I'm not excited about aggressively buying the cars as that's the way out of earning only 20% of the revenues when they are holding all of the operational costs. I think that he needs to renegotiate with his existing drivers.
Building up Dion's customer base is going to be critical for him to be able to have the leverage he needs to renegotiate those deals that he has with the drivers.
It's a very competitive business.
But he can't guarantee the work until he's developed it. In other words, I think he can capture that market share. I think he can capture that market share, but it's not going to happen from one day to the next. And if he has the money to buy a fleet of cars and he turns that investment into marketing and PR, then maybe, yes, he can develop himself enough as a brand so he's the go-to guy into getting market share.
Exactly. I'm not comfortable with you wanting to buy a fleet right away. I think that the thing that you need to do urgently is to renegotiate with your existing drivers and see if you can get a different arrangement, as well as aggressively go after new drivers under a different arrangement where you are getting more of the revenues, because you are, of course, taking on more of the costs. I am concerned about buying all these vehicles. You will take on the risk almost 100%. Sometimes people have ideas. With this guy, his ideas were a little bit too ambitious. So we kind of have to bring him down to reality so he understands what he needs to do within the resources that are available to him. One thing that you can do that I did not hear you do before is that you should be capturing the name, if you can, the email address and the phone number of every single person that calls you for a cab. That should be the first thing that you get. What you want to encourage is a relationship, because it costs you to acquire a customer. So it's better for you, once you acquire a customer, to keep that customer and to get as much business as you can from that customer. Always try to get customers' information. It's so hard to actually get those customers. When they do turn up at your door, when they do call you, you want to capture their names, you want to capture their phone numbers. Really important.
So what you're talking about when you talk about acquiring your own fleet is a massive capital outlay. Right now, I'm just emphasizing what Yannick is saying. Really and truly, you have a great opportunity to continue to build your customer base through some really solid marketing, in terms of the different communications to the customers, different strategies that you can come up with to expand your customer base. And that really is going to give you a lot of leverage to be able to renegotiate the deals with the drivers and get a more favorable deal. Work off of the volume and, continue to build business through that.
The advice from Yannick and Gary, I must say that it's on point. Some of the things that they mentioned, we do have in place. Basically, when we started out, that's the way we started. And that's why I kept referring to that. We have to go back to basics from where we started and build on it from there. We sort of deviated along the way and paid the price for that. I'm pretty excited to see what kind of assignments are going to be coming.
Let us know what you think on Twitter at The Innovators JA and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Innovators TV. This segment was brought to you by Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited.
Some of the challenges that we're currently experiencing is one, marketing.
Another problem we have is transportation. We are currently without a bus, so what we have to do is to work with bus companies to get the persons from place to place, and realize that affects our finances because it cuts deep into our package costs.
The dynamic duo of Shakara and O'Shane had some issues with their newly formed tour company. Let's see how they did.
Being on the Innovators TV show was a whirlwind experience. We were able to get advice from leading business persons in Jamaica. We were able to really bring our name out, help people to know more about who we are and what we're doing, and it's been great. It's been really great. What's new? We've been able to get a student assistant to help us get the things that are on the ground, off the ground, so we can have the details worked on. We've been able to acquire a contract with a bus company, so we're able to get specialized rates for us on our trips. We are still working on getting the JTB certification, which we need to promote to schools abroad so we can get them to Jamaica to tour, but things have been going well. A big thank you to Yanni, to Gary, to the persons in production, to the viewers who've been calling us, to our family and friends who've been really instrumental in helping us to move from where we were to where we are now. We would not have been here without you all. Thank you so much. We really appreciate what you've done for us.
Do you want advice from Gary and Yannick? Well, this is your chance. 4 lucky viewers will win a business lunch with Gary and Yannick this season. Visit our Facebook page for details at facebook.com/The Innovators TV. This segment is brought to you by Future Services International, putting money in your pockets and justice in your hearts. The Innovators assigned Dion Chance an advisor, David Mullins. He is the managing partner of Keystone Augusta Group and is also the author of Things Entrepreneurs Say and Social Media for Entrepreneurs.
I'm going to be speaking to Mr. Mullins on Skype today. I'm very excited to see what is it that I can gain from my conversation with Mr. Mullins. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going in there now with an open mind, and whatever it is that we can achieve by speaking to each other, I look forward to it.
Hello, Mr. Chance. Pleasure to meet you.
Hello, Mr. Mullins. Pleasure is mine as well.
So, Gary and Yannick have told me a little bit about your business, but I'd love to hear about it from your own experience and see how I might be able to help you. And I think it's always important to find a company somewhere else in the world doing something similar to what you're doing, and then you can learn from their mistakes, learn from their successes, and then adapt what you can adapt to the Jamaican marketplaces. It's a lot easier, but especially if you decide, you know what, I need to raise some outside money and bring in another investor, bring in a partner. It's easier to say that I'm doing XYZ, but in Jamaica. When we start up and we bootstrap it, that is when we prove the concept. But if we see it starting to work, you honestly should be looking at bringing in some outside capital, some equity investors that can provide some advice. You want smart money. You don't want to just take the money. Provide some advice, they have some experience somewhere, but give you some of that capital that gives you a little bit more runway space to get everything going. Especially look at Uber and how they were able to start, bootstrap, and then raise some money. It's not exactly like you, but I think you actually have the opportunity to eventually create a similar service where people, they call in your company or using an app to dispatch a taxi to their private residence or to the location where they are. And I see that as a huge opportunity that you can solve, starting in Jamaica and eventually expand.
There is an app that we do have that persons can actually text in for taxis.
Okay, so you're using an app to do that. So you really need to go and look at the Uber model and see how you can leverage that technology and scale to benefit you.
I've just finished my Skype call with Mr. David Mullins, and I must say that I appreciate all that he has said, the advice that he has given. I'm definitely going to take up on all of them. He mentioned that there's some companies that actually started out in the same fashion that we have, and there are certain things that they have done. And in his opinion, if we follow these trends, we should be able to make it.
It's time for Dion to update the Innovators on his progress. Will he be a contender for JN's $250,000 prize? Let's find out.
Dion Chance, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Great to see you again. Listen, we're really anxious to hear what has happened since you were last here.
Since I was here last, I had my one-on-one with my advisor, and I must say that I've taken a lot from what he had said to me. We've started a referral system that he proposed, and it's going well. What we've actually done, my brother and myself, is to actually go back to the drivers that we have, and we've sort of renegotiated with them in terms of the percentage that they take, and we've gone into putting some contracts in place. We've relocated the office from one section to another.
So now you're going to be looking at consistent marketing and really using social media as well as other types of direct marketing and via your referral program, etc. I'm excited about that because you're not losing sight of the fact that if you're not marketing, you're not doing anything. You will lose. Exactly.
Sometimes we need to take a step back. Sometimes we need to let fresh eyes come look at the business and make some suggestions. What he thought was what he needed to do, turns out that's not what he needed to do at all. And I think we've put him in the right direction. I think he's gotten some good advice, and most importantly, he's taking that advice.
I just love how Dion is focused on quality. You know, it doesn't make sense that you offer a service and you cannot guarantee that that service will be delivered the same way all the time. So he's putting a lot of focus on ensuring that his quality is maintained and that he's consistent, and that will give him a competitive edge.
I must say that I'm very grateful. I don't think that I can find words enough to express the gratitude that comes from DNA Taxi Service with the information and the advice that we have gotten. We have sought to implement majority of what was given to us. And I must say that we're beginning to see the real bearing of fruits already. And we're just barely into the program. And I just want to say to Jamaica that anybody out there, wherever across Jamaica, if you're ever in Montego Bay and need a service to take you around, a service that you can depend on, a on-time service, please contact us at DNA Taxi.
The boardroom table and chairs were provided by the Corporate Interiors International Limited. We sell solutions, not just furniture. Gary's wardrobe was provided by Max Brown Limited. For further information on any of our assignments, please visit us at facebook.com/innovatorstv or email us at innovatorstv@gmail.com. Next time on The Innovators, public relations guru Talisa Taylor steps into the boardroom.
Without a proper structure and without some proper planning, it's going to be very difficult to know whether she's doing well or she's not doing well, because at this point in time, it's kind of just whatever happens, happens.
Will Talisa get the help she needs? You'll just have to tune in to find out. The Innovators is brought to you by the Jamaica Yellow Pages, JN Small Business Loans, Future Services International, the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Manpower and Maintenance Services Limited, and Island Grill.